Now it says stream starting. So let's see if that actually does something.
But like when you like that link you're clicking that says like the link for viewers, you said it's like the same. It's still the same extension number and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what.
When I refreshed it, it just goes. It just refreshes the link, so it makes sure that it's live. Okay, now it's live. Try it again. Try it again.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm try one more time.
Yes.
It says live stream not found. The live stream information you provided is not recognized. Please check with meeting organizer for correct details.
Let me put this. Are you still in the? You're still in the.
Yeah, I'm on the desktop computer trying to view it. Yeah, I'm still on this one.
Okay, try this link that I just put in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that one worked. That's what I'm saying. I think when you refreshed it, it changed the links. Now the link that everybody has is going to be wrong.
Oh, shit.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes.
You know, the numbers are the same. All those other numbers are different. Like the 611-2010, like all that's the same, but the A7EC, like all that's different. So now that's a new thing that we may need to send out.
Right.
To everybody else now. Like looking forward to seeing you on the session. Please utilize this link.
Yes.
Yeah, because this is right, and I can see everybody. So we have it enabled, but now we just need that link you just texted me. You need to email that out. So if you can send that to John and tell him to email out like ASAP, so people know.
Okay. Yeah.
But just know it's not a big of a deal. But
right.
We just need to make sure because now the other link that we've been sending out to them, it's not going to work. They have to use that link.
This is a terrific new book. I've enjoyed it since before it came out. You started off with a big lead in the Wall Street Journal. And what I want to do is start off, I suspect most people who read it, they haven't, they're about to. Give us the short version of the book. What's your book about? I'm not good at the short version. I think we're not doing enough to celebrate Scar Tissue. So I think our kids live in a history where adolescence.
Okay, I just sent that to John.
New category, perpetual adolescence, and we don't have a lot of categories.
Okay.
So the book is online learning. It's about 1/3 stage setting, and we're not beating up on millennials here. We want to understand the situation to which they're emerging, and then 2/3 of it is trying to be constructive and thinking about habit formation as what should happen to teens. It shouldn't just be that you're.
Okay, I'm going to log out of this meeting that you're at, and I'm going to try to view it without it, and I'm going to see if it still just shows you. So hold on one second.
Okay.
I'll be back.
All right.
Thank you. smelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire, messages that forge brighter connections, and emails that get the job done,
Okay, that worked. So when I logged off, there's a little bit of a lag. So like
Yes.
I logged off and I went back and like myself talking still disappearing, but you were on there good. So
Okay. Yeah, I heard that because when I was just on it, I heard you talking twice. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, it's a few minutes lag, so I don't think that's a huge deal. The questions just might be a little late.
hmm Okay. Well, I think we're good. So you have the pre-recorded video intro on your computer that you can share your screen and play that at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just remember when you do that, when you share your screen, just do share window, not share your screen. So it'll just share the whatever window that video's in.
Okay.
Do you want to try it out real quick?
Sure. Can you see it?
It's just a black screen right now. I can see it now. Now press play. I can't hear
Can
it.
you hear it? Can you hear it now?
Yeah. It's a lag. Try playing it over again. Now, okay. Are you sharing just the window or are you sharing your screen?
I'm sharing just the window.
Because usually I don't know why I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
I can't hear it at all. Let me try it. Let me try it and then you tell me if it
Hello, I'm Eric Green, Superintendent of Jackson Public Schools, and I'm so excited. Heck, Jackson.
Is it loud?
Yes.
Yeah, it was because whenever you could hear it, I could hear more of your mic than the video.
Hey, John, I just sent you an email. So the link changed for this stream this morning. Can you send that to all the participants? Appreciate it. Sorry.
Well, not the participants, just the like the link for the host. I mean, the link for the panelists is still the same, just for the viewers.
I think you got what I meant.
Yeah, just the registration people, like just the people who need to view.
Let me text him. All right, I just texted him. Yeah.
So when I played that video, it was full screen. Like, was there any lag? Could you hear the audio really, really clear?
Yes.
Okay. And what I'll do is I'll stay on and I'll just play that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure why mine's not.
Yeah. So I'll play that at the beginning. So once we get the panelists in place, I'm going to mute my mic. And I'm not going to act like I'm not here. But once you say, like, we're going to play this tech check video, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll press play.
Okay.
And to be honest, let's see. What I might can do too is go ahead and have we can have the panelists on here. What we'll do is we'll get them in place. Is there a Tech Jackson logo or no? Just the city of Jackson, I guess.
Just there is a Tech Jackson logo. Let me see if Maya can email it to you.
Is it the circle?
No, it's just the words Tech Jackson.
Yeah, get her. See if she can email it to me real quick. Because what I'll do is I'll share my screen with that as people are getting on. So that's the main screen, so they can't see the participants.
Okay.
And then straight from there until we have to get on and introduce, I'll just click the video right at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Right at 9:30. Right at 9:25. 9:30.
Okay.
John, can you send Gavin the new Tech Jackson logo? The old logo, the color is changed. I mean, there's only, yeah, it's only one thing, but I would change the logo. The circle logo with the word in the middle. Yeah, you can take that. But I mean, I should have that one. I thought that was the okay. Okay, are you gonna repeat that? Oh.
They're trying to get it right now. The logo.
Okay. And then he sent a link out to everybody.
He's working on it right now.
Also, okay, so also go under. I'm trying to view this. I'm viewing this link now, but it looks like it. Hold on, let's see. Also, okay, so also go under. Okay,
Thank you.
Just can you go under the same thing you click to view a link? I think you also need to enable questions.
They're enabled. Can you not type them?
Okay. And no, it says the moderator has. Oh, I see it. Okay, the moderator has opened the floor for questions. Okay, that's good.
Okay. Great.
All right, I'm gonna try the video one more time.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna try the video.
Hello, I'm Eric Green, Superintendent of Jackson Public Schools, and I'm so excited for Tech Jackson 2020. This is
Hey, how you doing?
a wonderful opportunity for our scholars to share, to learn, and to network all around the issues of and in the area of technology. Our young people will be at the table as many of the brightest minds in technology.
That was good. It was a little laggy, but not bad.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I think it was lagging because it was repeating my mics back and forth. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm going to. What is this other screen on there? Okay, I'm going to just mute myself. So whenever I would probably say, once you get the panelists on, let's get them in place and let's just get them quiet and muted. And then at 9, right at 9:30, I'll play the Welcome to Tech Jackson video.
Okay. That sounds good. Do you want me to say anything before you play it?
Yeah, I would say, because you'll be able to see how many viewers are coming on. So I would just keep yourself muted. Like once the panelists get on there, just tell them to thank you, make sure their cameras look good, and then keep them then tell them to mute themselves and just stand by. And then at 9:30, you just need to come on there and be like, hey, I'm Jessica, welcome to Technology Day. And then kind of give like what you're going to talk about today. And then say, before we get started, we're going to play a short video to welcome you to Tech Jackson. And then I'll be listening to you. So then I'll play the video. And then once we play the video, then you can just go right into the panelist introduction, the questions, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And since we don't have the MSCA video, after audience questions, I'll be texting you questions, but there's no more questions. You can just end early if we need to. So.
Okay. That sounds good.
And just remember, so see if you can can you center your camera where you're in the center a little bit more? Or no?
Yeah, I'm pushed over right now.
Okay.
How's it?
That's better. Can you angle the camera down just a little bit? Right. That's perfect right there. That's good. That's perfect. And remember, I know it's going to seem like you're being fake, but just remember, like when you're talking, be like hosty. You can be kind of like, hey, kind of just like talk a little bit like louder and kind of like you're entertaining.
Sorry, John's calling. Hello.
Hey, is that link for this just a morning session?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The other ones are the same.
Yes.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, sorry. So
No, you're good.
A little bit more inflection.
Yeah, and just kind of talk loud. I mean, it's gonna sound really weird, but it'll sound better for people viewing. We needed you to be louder and kind of, and kind of take charge of the room. Like if you see something going on, just host. So, but I think it'll be fine. This will be an easy first session because it's all live stream. I mean, it's all live. The panels will be live, so you'll be good. But I'm gonna go ahead and just mute myself. So just know that I'm here and I'm listening, but I don't want to pop up as the main person on the screen. So if you want to, if we both just want to go and mute ourselves so that the people viewing doesn't see anybody, then we can go. Then we can introduce the panelists, get them to mute themselves when they get on here, and then at 9:30 I'll hit the video, and then you can take it from there.
Okay.
And
Text me if you need me to be louder.
Okay, I will, and I'll text you audience questions too as they come in. So.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Have fun. Good luck.
Thanks.
Jessica, one more thing. So there is a little bit of a lag. So in order for us to start right at 9:30, we should probably like try to get started at like 9:27. Or I guess I guess it don't matter if it's a lag. We can be a little bit later. We can be at 9:32 just to give people time. So ignore what I'm saying. Let's just keep it at 9:30. Okay, I'll mute myself again.
That sounds good. Thanks.
Oh, you dressed up. You look so nice and pretty. And then here I am.
How are you doing, Alicia?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You look good.
I'm very nervous. Can you tell?
Are you? Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. You're going to be good. It's just your peers watching.
Yeah, I have some good answers to the question. So I'm kind of relying on that to bypass the nervousness.
Good. I'm excited to hear them. Are you excited? Oh.
Only because I get to get my ideas out. But other than that, I'm very nervous because I stutter a lot when I'm nervous.
It's okay. You'll see me stutter a little bit too. So just be like, all right, I'm not as bad as her, so I'll be good. I'm just kidding. Are any of your friends doing Tech Jackson stuff?
Ma'am?
Are any of your friends doing Tech Jackson stuff?
I have one friend. That's Jared Brister. He's tomorrow though. He's for tomorrow.
Hi, Spirit. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
Good. Just letting y'all know there's a little bit of a lag between us and the audience, but that's not going to play a big role in anything that we're doing today. Everybody working. Do y'all have any questions before we start? Good.
No questions. You might see me, shuffle through a lot of paper.
No,
I try not to. I try to answer it off the top of my head, but sometimes it's like I know how to answer it, but sometimes I mess up.
Mm-hmm. No, that's understandable. Hi, Jared.
Yes.
Could you turn on your camera for us?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, thank you. And also, I didn't get your bio. Did you send that in?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, what grade are you in? And what high school are you in?
11th grade, Callaway.
At Callaway? Okay. And do you know what you're going to do after high school?
Yes, I'm going to college to study communication.
Do you know what school you want to go to?
Mississippi State.
Thank you. Do you do any activities in high school right now?
I'm in a band and I play basketball.
Thank you.
My cat has joined and you might see him pop up.
What kind of cat do you have?
To be honest, I don't know any cat species, but this is what it looks like.
Very cute. Hi, Carlin.
Hi there.
How are you?
A little stretched right now. I have to rest and do something. I will be right back.
Okay.
How are you, Miss Nelson?
I'm doing well. Excited. I had a dream about this last night that was a little bit scary, but other than that, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. We have almost everybody here, missing Destiny and Christopher.
Excuse me. I know us panelists have a different link from the students, but I have a student who doesn't know how to get into the actual conference. Did you guys like send out an email to them?
Yes. Ask him if he got an email today, this morning.
What's up, Jared? How you been, bro? Yeah. You know who's speaking to you?
Yeah, I know now.
What's up, man?
But
Feel that, I feel that.
Christopher. Good morning, Christopher.
Morning.
Miss Jackson, are you on this panel?
Yes,
Are you sure?
I think so.
Which panel are you on?
Huh?
Which panel are you supposed to be on?
I don't know.
I don't think you're on this panel. I don't have you on my list. Did your teacher tell you to log on to here?
My friend says he doesn't have the email.
Okay. Let me forward it to you. And can you send that to your friend? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just sent it to you.
I got it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, will everybody turn their cameras on, please? We're gonna get started in about 10 minutes. If you need to go to the restroom or anything, please do that now. Shake out the nerves. Everything's gonna be good.
Hey, Jessica, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just popping in to wish everybody good luck.
Thank you so much.
Y'all gonna do great. I know it. Hey, Christopher, I just got through talking to Miss Wolf. She said good luck.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Miss Slater.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's have everybody mute now while we have people joining. Good morning. We will get started in a couple of minutes. Please let me know if you have any audio issues through the question. Good morning and welcome to Tech Jackson. Today is the first day of Tech Jackson 2020. We will start off this morning with a welcome video from your superintendent. Okay, there is no sound coming from the video. We apologize for the sound difficulty, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So today's panel, this morning's panel, will be the convergence of technology and issues of today with your fellow students. We'll start with Alicia Jones-Tripp. Alicia Jones-Tripp is a junior at Callaway High School. Typically, when you see her, she's either studying or doing other schoolwork. Tougaloo College is where she wants to attend because they're offering her a scholarship there since she completed their SLAM program. She looks forward to being in the medical field as a cardiologist. Next, we have LaSpirit Jennings. LaSpirit Jennings is a senior at Wingfield High School. She was born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. She's an active member in the JROTC program, the Honor Society, and the Student Council as vice president. She plans to attend the University of Southern Mississippi and major in nursing and mathematics. She hopes to become a nurse or pediatrician upon completion of her studies. Next, we have Christopher Washington. Christopher Washington was born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. He attends Lanier High School and participates in the JROTC. He plans to go on to the Army, graduate college while majoring in computer science, and go on to be an IT tech in the Army. Jared Brister is a junior at Callaway High School. He plans to go to Mississippi State to study communication upon graduation. He is active in the band and on the basketball team. Next, we have Carlin Nichols. Carlin Nichols is a junior at the JPS Tougaloo Early College High School, where he is a member of the Esports Rocket League team. He is also a member of the Student Government Association, the Drama Club, and the Tech team. He intends to attend Tougaloo College, and his career aspirations include becoming a perfusionist. Thank you to our panelists for joining us. We will now get started. I'm your moderator today, Jessica Nelson. I work for the City of Jackson. So we'll go ahead and start with Carlin Nichols. Carlin, how has the role of technology changed in our everyday lives since the COVID-19 pandemic started? And how do you see it further affecting and changing the way we live?
Well, when the pandemic started, it was a lot of things that were in the process of being made. I cannot personally speak on anything. I have not read any articles since then, but there were a lot of things being made that were going to help develop, whether it was the medical field, the cooking field, just many different things, because technology is everywhere these days. But as far as since the pandemic started, people have had more time to delve deeper into the science and the breakdown of the things that they've made. Technology has definitely gotten better. Technology will always get better. And ever since the pandemic started, we've had no reason to not come up with more and more things to create and more things that technology can help us with, especially in the medical field, seeing as the pandemic was something that hit everyone hard.
Definitely a great response. Thank you. We had our other panelists join us as well. I'll introduce her now. We have Ms. Destiny Wilson. Destiny Wilson is the sophomore class president at Provine High School. She is originally from California. She now resides in Jackson, Mississippi. Destiny also takes part in the JROTC and some of the program's corresponding activities, such as the J-Lab and battalion staff. Welcome, Destiny. So I'm going to go to Alicia next to answer the same question. How has the role of technology changed in our everyday lives since the COVID-19 pandemic started? How do you see it further affecting and changing the way we live?
The role of technology changed everyday lives by giving the people a safer way of continuing life without spreading the virus to others. I see it further affecting and changing the way we live by allowing more people to learn and understand how technology works. Because, well, for me, I entered a world full of technology, so it is crucial to know how it works and not feel.
Great, thank you, Ms. Jones. Next, I'll go to LaSpirit. How do you see these changes persisting after the pandemic?
Well, after the pandemic, I feel like we will still use technology. I feel like the pandemic is just drawing us closer. So after the pandemic, I don't think it'll go away. We'll just have more platforms like Zoom. I think more jobs will still continue to use technology as a means of getting the word out, how they go about making their money. So.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings. Mr. Brister, how do you see the changes persisting after the pandemic?
Well, I feel that I mean, it will change tremendously, but it wouldn't change a lot because technology. Well, my bad. It's gonna change a lot because technology is always evolving in the world and getting better and better each day.
Absolutely. Mr. Washington, do you see the changes persisting after the pandemic?
I think the pandemic just accelerated what was already going to happen. If we saw how just a 10-year span, everybody went from pagers to having these supercomputers in their pockets. So I think it was going to happen anyway. The pandemic just sped the process up.
That's an interesting thought, and I think I agree with you there. So, Ms. Wilson, what are the pros and cons of the changes we have observed and made in our daily lives?
The pros and cons. I believe that the pros shows you that we can now be united as a community. And the cons do show us like who's really divided during these times. And it shows you where strengths are and how we need to uplift each other during these times.
Absolutely. Ms. Jones, same answer. What are the pros and cons of the changes we have observed and made in our daily lives?
The pros are that there are more people like supporting others for like a number of reasons. Yeah, students are able to continue school online, and you can avoid the pandemic just by not going out of your house at all, because you can almost order anything online and it comes straight to your door. I would say the cons are that there are people dying every day, and you have some people who don't take it seriously by wearing their masks, and you have like the violent acts against the peaceful.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols, what are the pros and cons that you see of the changes we have observed and made in our daily lives?
Well, like the last two panelists have said, one big thing that we've observed is a peak in collaboration, not just among our own culture, but of multiple cultures and everything that's been going on in the world. We've also observed a lot of improvement in the medical field. We're talking about technology. A lot of things have been created to help with the breakdown of medicine, to help with the creation of medicine, to help with the founding of different medicines due to having to create a vaccine for this virus and everything. So one of the big pros of this pandemic is the fact that we are still growing in a lot of aspects because of it. It seems like a very daunting thing, but we're still growing in a lot of aspects. A big con would be that it has really brought out the true person in a lot of people, what they will really do for their fellow man and everything. So that those would be the biggest pros and cons that I've seen during the pandemic.
Great. A lot of similarities in there, a lot of character, looking at character and truth. And I agree with all of you that there's some great pros, as such as growth, and some of the cons as seeing people treat each other differently. But that can also be a pro, just knowing who is around you and what they're thinking. So great answers. Ms. Wilson, how have organizations utilized technology during the pandemic, and how can they continue to improve upon and further their use?
I feel as though now that we're all focused on technology, since we can't go out to the real world and socialize as we used to, everything is everywhere and it's easier to access. And I feel as though it will help us better improve ourselves because we will all learn how to unite through technology during these times.
Mr. Brister, same question. How have organizations utilized technology during the pandemic, and how can they continue to improve upon and further their use?
Well, they used it for working at home. You know, when they started working at home, technology became a big part of people working at home, and it's gonna be very changing because a lot of people not gonna go back to work like they used to. They just gonna stay at home and do technology, and some gonna go to work and go home and do technology. So technology has made a big impact on the world since COVID hit. Because, you know, can't see each other, can't, you know, be around people. So the computers and technology will be improving, and they improve greatly well.
Excellent. Mr. Washington, how have organizations utilized technology during the pandemic, and how can they continue to improve upon and further their use?
Like everyone said, it helps family members and friends connect with each other because we can't really go see each other because we don't want to get somebody sick. And it has helped people with work. Now, one way I think they can improve upon their technology is maybe send like we're having a meeting now, they send like a notification, hey, you haven't spoken to so-and-so in a while, text them, call them, or they can tell you to take a break, you've been on for a minute, things like that.
Thank you. So the pandemic has changed a lot for us, more than sometimes we even think. So the responses that you all gave over the pandemic are great. And we want to talk a little bit about Black Lives Matter movement. Has technology altered the Black Lives Matter movement? What are some of the pros and cons of that? We'll start with Ms. Jones.
So I think technology has helped the Black Lives Matter movement with like the big social media platforms. It's like kind of exposing them more with celebrities, or like motivating their supporters to like go and support and everything. And another way was like, it's like all the police brutality videos now becoming more public. And I think that's both positive and negative. Negative because of the beatings and like the brutality, but positive in a way where it's like it's kind of evidence of like what we've been through.
Is things can be both a positive and a negative, and I think you're absolutely spot on with that. So we'll go to Mr. Washington. How has technology altered the Black Lives Matter movement, and what are the positives and negatives?
Technology has let people see more of what was already there. People have this culture shock now because it was already happening, like with the Rodney King situation back in the 90s, I believe. That shocked the world too because they actually caught this stuff on camera. Now, a few cons are that I personally think, and I do appreciate the world's help, but I don't think that outsiders, people outside the Black community should have this much sway and opinion over the situation. Some of them think they just come in and they share their little opinion, and most Black people can't really get their voices out. And I appreciate the help, but this is a Black thing. We need to discuss this among ourselves. Not everyone needs to put their information in.
Great, thank you. Ms. Wilson, has technology altered the Black Lives Matter movement, and what are the positives and negatives?
I feel as though since we're all on social media and technology, everything spreads a lot faster. So when things happen, like the shooting of Jacob Blake or Breonna Taylor, for example, we all found out about it really quickly, same day, day after. And with that spreading so quickly, we're able to share the resources and articles to put a stop to this. Because if we don't know, how will we change? But then there's the negatives, because online there will be rumors, there will be false information to make it seem like it was their fault. And I feel like with that sometimes it goes with trial and error. You win some and you lose some, and that's how it has to be sometimes, sadly.
Knowledge is power. You are right, Ms. Wilson. Mr. Nichols, has technology altered the Black Lives Matter movement? What are the positives and negatives?
Well, as we've heard and we'll continue to hear, technology has helped with networking. everybody has been able to get information out quickly and effectively, especially with us being on it more and mostly 24/7 now during the pandemic. Technology has gotten it to a point where you can click on a post, find out where that post was taken, how long it was taken to go, how many people were in it, how many influencers were in it, and everything. So technology has definitely made it not only easier for a lot of people to be a part of the Black Lives Matter movement, but also has helped the Black Lives Matter movement be more effective in their efforts over technology, over social media. A big pro is the fact that it is an effective way of getting the information out there. It's an effective way of letting people know information needed to be a part of the movement. A big con is, like Ms. Wilson said, people will put false information out there. People will start different petitions based on their own opinions, gathering those people who are against the Black Lives Matter movement. Just the biggest con being of those people, or being started by those people that are either feeling that the Black Lives Matter movement is a riot protest based movement, or a movement that is wrong, that it shouldn't be taking place in the first place. So as far as the con, I feel like that is the biggest con, and they're all the cons being started by those type of people.
Thank you. Very thorough response. Mr. Washington, what is your take on how technology has altered the Black Lives Matter movement?
Have you already asked me, or different question?
Yes, sorry. An audience member asked if you would elaborate on your answer.
What I meant by that was everyone, you know how everyone likes to jump on the bandwagon and the big new movement. Some of these white kids in these other neighborhoods who haven't seen a single problem with one of their police officers, and go talk with them and hang out with them, all of a sudden now just hate them. And now they have this big opinion on people who, like me and you, have actually lived in these low-income situations and have to deal with police brutality. I just don't think their opinion has as much, just doesn't weigh as much as ours. That's what I meant.
Thank you for that. Hopefully that satisfies the audience member's question. We appreciate you coming back to us with that. Mr. Brister, has technology altered the Black Lives Matter movement, and what are the positives and negatives?
Yes, it has altered the Black Lives Matter movement, because back in the old days, all they got was posters around the city and stuff like that. But now news travel faster, and people could see it, and they could participate virtually, and they could participate in person. So it has been a tremendous impact on the Black Lives Matter movement. But the cons of it is that people from different races, they could easily just slide up with something and say something that will hurt people about the Black Lives Matter movement and cause them to not want to participate because they're afraid of what might happen during it, because threats are being made online and on social media. So it causes them to stay at home and not feel like their voice matters.
Excellent response. Yes. Yeah, you have a voice and it does matter. And I think it's very important to elaborate on that. So thank you. And Ms. Jennings, has technology altered the Black Lives Matter in your opinion? And what are the positives and negatives?
I feel like it has altered the Black Lives Matter movement. One of the pros is it spreads awareness, it promotes change, it helps get the word out. The con, like it was mentioned, you can have false information. People post false information, and also like they start riots, and you got, like he mentioned, threats coming out. So there's only so much you can prevent using social media. So the con would be like I said, all the false information and the threats that are being made. So yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings. what does the Black Lives Matter movement mean to you? And we'll start with you this time, Ms. Jennings.
To me, it means speaking up for our Black community, you know, letting our voice be heard. We trying to make a change. We trying to better ourselves as a whole, as a community, as a race. So, like, to me, like I said, it means just bettering our community, actually getting and using our rights, you know, promoting it, helping us out.
Thank you. Mr. Washington, what does the Black Lives Matter movement mean to you?
What Black Lives Matter means to me is simply just realizing that people are people, because we tend to forget that a lot. We go about our daily lives doing what we want, living in America, having our first world problems. We tend to forget that other people are human. It's really easy to forget, and especially with Black people and the way we're depicted in the media. It's easiest to see us as these criminals and all this is what they portray us as. So it's just easier for us to remember that people are people and people are in their situation because of circumstances and their environment, not necessarily because of that person.
Thank you. Mr. Brister, I would like to direct the question to you. What does the Black Lives Matter movement mean to you?
Well, being a young African American, it means a lot to me because seeing people like George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery getting hurt like that, it really affects my future and how I respond to the world. It has a big impact because not only is me being a Black person, but being a Black person in the South, in Mississippi, like the deep rural South, where a lot of things happen down here before our time. But yeah, it's really important that Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter are really important because people need to be heard and things need to be said and issues need to be discussed because it's problems that have been going on in the world and nobody has ever addressed them like they're addressing them now.
Thank you. That's right. The time is now. And Ms. Wilson, what does the Black Lives Matter movement mean to you?
To me, it's a cry for help. Every time we get somewhat comfortable in our neighborhoods, in our communities, somebody's being shot and somebody's being killed and somebody's being profiled. And we can never get a break. It's everywhere we go, whether it's with the police or the stores or just going down the street. And I feel like with this movement, we're asking everyone who isn't Black to see us as people. Because, you know, there was a time where we weren't even counted as full human beings. We counted as like 1/3 of a white man. And so I feel like with the Black Lives Matter movement, we're putting our voices out there and saying, hey, we're alive, we all bleed the same blood, and we're tired of being picked and brutalized and villainized.
Excellent. Excellent historical reference. I appreciate that. Thank you. Ms. Jones, same question. What does the Black Lives Matter movement mean to you?
It means a lot to me. Everyone really said everything, but like elementary, middle school, I've heard and learned a lot about Black history and everything, but I didn't quite think it as thoroughly as I think it now. Like learning all this stuff, I learned so much about Black history just off the internet because of technology. But like, I would say I'm a lot more scared. So the Black History movement, not Black History, the Black Lives Matter movement it's kind of, it makes me feel safe in a way because it's like we're getting our voice out there and we're not scared to like get what we want because we deserve it, because you have Black people out there protesting, risking their lives and everything. So it just shows how much we want this and how much we will fight for it, even if it gets us killed in the process. And this has been going on for years. So it makes me feel safe in a way that while I can't do it because of my age, I have my fellow Black members who will put their lives at risk just to do it for me.
Absolutely. It's about standing up for others and not always just yourself. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Mr. Nichols, what does the Black Lives Matter movement mean to you?
Ever since I learned about the Black Lives Matter movement around when I was 12, that's when I first started learning about the Black Lives Matter movement. I had the mindset that what they were fighting for and the movement itself was, in my eyes at the time, basically an extension of the civil rights movement. The fact that they have shaped their goals based off society and made it where they know what they're fighting for now during this time. They see the things that are happening, they see the things that they need to change, and they are going for it. Like most people have said, it's not only a cry for help, it's a war cry. It's a shout of bravery. It's a shout saying that we know what we want and we're going to get it. And like Mr. Washington said, our opinion, because this is our battle, this is our fight, this is our movement, our opinion should have the most sway. But it's good. It's good to have those people who not of our race that are fighting with us, because that shows the amount of people that are not only working for change with us, that are not only willing for the change, but want the change, that want to stop seeing Black people be brutalized, stop being villainized, stop being profiled, and put under different standards that we did not put on ourselves.
Excellent response. And I like that. It's a war cry. And I want to remind the students that feel free to respond to each other. We want this to be more of a conversation. So if you have something to say on somebody else's response, please step up and say something. So how is the Black Lives Matter movement using technology to their advantage? We'll start with you, Mr. Washington.
Like what was stated earlier, basically to spread the information, spread the word. And like I said earlier, jump on the bandwagon. So technology these days, you can send a post out, like a day and by tomorrow it'll have like 1 million views if you play your cards right. So basically just to spread the news of Black Lives Matter, that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Mr. Brister, what do you think? How is the Black Lives Matter movement used technology?
Well, they use technology to, make sure people's voices are heard. Like social athletes, they use their platform to actually speak out on problems that is going on in the world. Because, back then, they didn't really have the resources they have now. And a lot was scared because of what the country was going through. But now, people like LeBron James, Chris Paul, and all of them, they use their voice to be heard. They make sure people know what's going on and people are not counted out. They Black Lives Matter, they use that to make sure people are reached out to, the people that's been hidden for so long, the people that's been scared for so long. They use that to actually feel like they have some dignity left in them to fight for what they believe in.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of what Mr. Washington had said, I feel like social media is really helping, and sometimes I get emails from I would say protesters, because like they keep me up to date of what's going on in the Black community, like what has happened, and then you see posts where if this black person dies, it'd be like a picture and their information underneath, like what happened and stuff like that, and why they didn't deserve to die. So that's really how the Black Lives Matter movement
Yeah, and going back to what you said, Ms. Jones, before about not putting yourself out there and having those people who will go out there for you. I have a lot of friends personally that have known people that have been a part of protests. There was a protest down at the Capitol here a while ago and everything, and they were a part of it. Like I said before, you have those people that think that the Black Lives Matter movement is a riot-based movement, is a violence-based movement, and that's not what it is. That's not what it ever has been. With the things that they've stood out for and the protests that they've held, like I said, I've always thought that it was an extension of the civil rights movement. So peaceful protest is the best protest. And now you have the means of having groups of people that will not only protect each other, but also have a sound mind, a sound goal. Not someone that's going to jump out of the crowd with their one opinion while everyone else has said, okay, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna do this. We're gonna speak on this one matter for so long, and then we're going to go to another matter. You're not going to have that certain group of people, unless it's those people that have just jumped on the bandwagon, that will come in and try and change what's going on based off their opinion.
To piggyback on what Colin said, I mean, peaceful protesters are okay, but sometimes you have to take actions. You have to make sacrifices in order to make sure your voice is heard. Because peaceful protesting, they just gonna take that and be like, oh, they just playing. But if you take action on it, and if you really get engaged in it, they'll know that you're serious about it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that they aren't needed. I'm not saying that they aren't needed because in today's time, people are stubborn. People have been more stubborn than I've seen in my lifetime. So those people who are willing to go out on their own limb and risk their own life to not only start but continue these riots, these pushed violent protests, they are putting our not only confidence but the amount of things that we're willing to do to get that change. Before, during the civil rights movement, peaceful protest was, especially with Martin Luther King, peaceful protest was one of the big things. But you had the Black Panthers, those people who were willing to be violent to get what they wanted.
I'm sorry, I just can't get on with the whole riot thing. That's the rioting. I understand you're frustrated. You need to let something out, but what good is tearing up your own community gonna solve? Like, we're mad at the wealthy and the rich. What good is messing up your own stuff? Why would they care? I've just never understood that.
To answer your question, I feel as though, like Martin Luther King said, riots are the voices of the unheard. We're frustrated. We're angry. This has been going on for years, centuries. We don't owe them peace. We owe them nothing. We have every right in our soul to be angry and violent because it's not going to stop if we're nice. We've been nice our whole lives, and look how they've treated us. Look where they've put us. They've stripped us of our life, stripped us of our culture, and renamed it, rebranded it. Let alone with the violence, they've took everything from us. Everything. We have nothing. Every little thing we come up with, some little white girl or little white boy comes and takes it. So we're violent because we're angry and we're tired and we're fed up. We owe them nothing. Nothing at all. We didn't want to come to this country in the first place. So why should we be nice? Why should we protect these things? When they didn't protect us, they weren't nice to us. Why should we be nice to them? That's how I feel about it personally. I'm not gonna get emotional on this subject, but that's how I see it. We owe them nothing. It's been centuries since this has been going on.
I like the passion.
It's just like,
one problem. You're not tearing up their stuff. We live here. Why burn down your own stuff? If you're mad at people, tear up their stuff.
We should
Okay,
tear down the whole
see,
country. We need to be heard.
all right. See, one thing that everyone's talked about, one thing that has been said a lot is that when black people come together, we're gonna take over the world. When we get a sound mind and a sound goal to do one thing and then one thing only, we can take over the world. So as far as the riots go, you have those riots, like Mr. Washington said, that are destroying their own community. And they're destroying it because, hey, maybe white people live in that community and they wanna make that known. But also you have those not necessarily riots, but violent protests where you have aggressive protesters. The ones where I'm not gonna say SWAT team, but the ones where they've had to come out with the shields and everything, but they're not actively destroying buildings. They're trying to be as aggressive as they need to be against their aggressors.
And sometimes it's not even the protesters who's like a part of the Black Lives Matter movement. It's not even them who's destroying buildings. It's just people who are against the Black Lives Matter movement. They go and destroy things and they blame it on the Black Lives Matter movement. That has happened countless of times.
Okay, so what I got to say, Ms. Wilson, I agree with you. Like when you say we gotta fight, we need to have a voice. You know, we sick and tired, being sick and tired. You know, but like Mr. Washington said, we not destroying their neighborhoods. We're destroying our own. We're destroying our community. What we need to be trying to make our stuff better. If we want to destroy something and we want to show how angry we are, why destroy our own stuff? We should go to their neighborhoods, destroy what they have. So
You're right with that. I agree. It does sound silly because we're destroying our own, but it's at the same time, it was never ours to begin with. It was never ours. So it's like we're borrowing it. We're borrowing it. That's the plain truth. We're borrowing it.
I also feel like our aggression should like automatically be assumed because of all the stuff we've been through. Like there's no doubt about it. Black people have been through the most stuff. That's why our movement is like different in a way. That's why I support Black Lives Matter and not All Lives Matter. Because how can all lives matter if Black lives don't matter?
Yeah. Like Ms. Wilson said, we've been borrowing it. We've been borrowing it for the longest because for millennia we have been without a lot of basic human rights, a lot of things that people are born with. We are not. As soon as we come out, we're stereotyped, and especially with me being a Black male, Mr. Washington, Mr. Brister, we have to deal with our own set of problems as males, as Black males, that a lot of people don't even have to consider in their lifetime. A lot of people who are not Black don't even have to think about, that they're not even taught to think about. So by the time that we're grown up, we've had to go through so many experiences. If we're not taught at home that this is how we're acting, we have to go through so many experiences to then teach our own children. But that's not how it should be. That's not how it ever needs to be. We don't need to continue teaching this. Well, first it needs to change so we don't have to teach it. But also we shouldn't have to teach this mode of protection, this mode of you have to do what you need to do to survive, to live. Like what type of sense that make? That you have to teach your children to do what somebody else says just so they can live.
Yeah,
I agree with Mr. Nicholas on that.
go ahead.
I agree as well. That's why I want to go to like a college that's like Tougaloo, like a Black History college type, because I feel like so many schools are like whitewashed in a way where we don't learn enough about our own community to like be aware of what's going on around us. Like I didn't no shade to my school, but I didn't learn all this information. I just learned it from the internet more than anything. And that's why I feel like I really believe that Black history should be taught in classes, at least as an elective, but I feel like it should be taught.
It should be taught. It shouldn't just be in one month. Like February, that's all you talk about. Like, why we can't talk about it all the time? Like, you always designate February the shortest month of the year to talk about Black history when there's not enough days to talk about it. So I don't understand why we don't talk about it in school and why they try to avoid that conversation. They always talk about how Christopher Columbus brought all the people all over to the world. They talk about different stuff, how Indians and everybody else, but they don't talk about how we made an impact. Like, you touch on Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X about 1 or 2 times through the year, and like, it's really not enough because people need to know. The thing is, they messed up when they let Blacks get an education and start providing for other Blacks to be educated. That's why you got HBCUs, for people to be educated, for they know more about the world and they know more about what's going on. I shouldn't be scared to go out with friends and be scared I'm not coming back home. My parents shouldn't be scared that I won't be coming back home because how the world is treating Blacks, not just Black men, but Black women too. Like, we have nothing. Like, it's like it's us against the world. And it's like, whites can do whatever they want. So, but Blacks, like the dude with that was doing the protest, he had a gun and he was shooting people, and Blacks was just protesting, and the police just let him walk straight past them with a gun. Like, that wasn't nothing. So we really have no say so.
Yeah, and going back to your, and going back to your first point, the things that African Americans, the things that Black people have been through, extends more than even a year. We don't even have a lifetime to talk about the stress and the amount of negative energy that it has put out into the world, the things that have happened to us. And you have so many people. You have so many people that I haven't personally met one, thank God. But you have so many people that say, "Oh, that happened so long ago. Why are you still worried about it?" We're still worrying about it because we're still dealing with your actions. The fact that your ancestors wanted to be dumb, wanted to start putting supremacy into the picture, because that's all imperialism is, supremacy, white supremacy at that. So because we're dealing with their actions, you have to deal with our emotions. Because you claim the fact that everything that has happened doesn't have an effect anymore, that's just dumb. That's just idiocy. That's ignorance. To think that everything that's going on now is not connected to the things that have happened in the past.
Okay, and one thing I want to say. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you got it.
Okay, so backing up, like, backtracking. To what Miss Wilson and Mr. Nichols said, you all said that what we have now is just borrowed, like it wasn't ours to begin with. But you got to think about it, it's ours now. And the only way to make us better is we got to protect it, we got to make it better in order to make us better. True enough, it's borrowed, it wasn't ours to begin with, but it's ours now. So if we don't better it, how can we better ourselves?
And yeah, that's one biggest problem. Like, we can't blame everything on the whites. It is us too, because it's not just white people killing Black, it's Blacks killing Black because they're jealous of their success. Like, I don't understand how people be jealous of somebody succeeding in their same color. Like, everybody's trying to make it out. Everybody's trying to do better for themselves. But if we killing each other, how can we make it better for ourselves? How can we show that we are serious about a movement that we keep killing each other? Like, it really doesn't make sense. I shouldn't be scared to be killed by a white person, or be scared to kill by a Black person, because especially a Black person, because we're the same color. We're trying to do the same thing. We're trying to make it out. We're trying to be better for ourselves. We trying to make the community better. We trying to change the world. But how can I do that if blacks are doing things that make people look at us differently?
Yeah.
Great. Go ahead, Carlin. I'll let you have the last point on this one.
Miss Wilson was gonna respond to Miss Jennings before Jared started talking, so I was gonna let her go. But if she still needs to go.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna talk about how gangs don't make sense to me. Gangs don't make sense to me because gang violence doesn't make sense to me. I understand that some people need to have those people that they can depend on when they grow up without that love, without that support. That's what having family members that are part of a gang, that is what was the foundation of them getting in the game, having that support. But I don't understand why majority black gangs are against each other. Like, can somebody speak on that for me? Because I honestly can't think on it, because you have so many of these gang members, these quote unquote famous gang members that are cool with other gangs, but you have quote unquote normal gang members that are gonna get killed if they go to a certain area.
What
I
makes
feel
you
like
people isn't your skin color, but your values and ideas. That's just my opinion.
I feel as though with the gang violence specifically on black crime, I just feel like time evolved and people usually stray from their morals when there is nothing to keep hope for. And it brings us to our darkest self. And I feel like that's where all the gang violence is coming from. Because gangs originally were just made to be a group of support. Because we didn't have it. We don't have anything. We don't have those support systems. You know, the YMCA, what's that for us? We have these gangs, which were like brotherhoods. The people we could look up to for support when you needed it. But the violence, I will never understand the violence of that. I will never understand that.
Thank y'all. That was very good discourse. I forget that I'm talking to 11th and 12th graders. I think I am on CNN listening to actual respondents speaking. So thank y'all very much. I want to move the conversation towards policing. Why is technology relevant in our current state of policing? And we will start with Mr. Washington.
Start off with basic reporting. Police need to let everyone know, like what the news is doing, just let everyone know what's going on. Inform everybody what's happening, like time, place, what happened to, who it happened to, etc., etc. And more important one is, like they have the dash cams, recording evidence, even if it's on the police themselves. But they need to be recording and documenting everything, using technology for that.
Yeah. As far as like police cams became a big thing. I feel after a lot of on black police brutality started becoming more relevant, because it's always been there, but because of social media and it becoming a more networked thing that everyone knew about, I feel like that's when police cams became really, really big, because everybody needed to know, what the police did. And police cams, they're not only there for on black brutality, but because you have those people who have became officers, that have became policemen, that don't do their job right, that go out of their way to mess someone else's day up because they may not be right in the head. And that happens over time. Those people that have became police officers and they were good when they like first became a police officer, but as they've gotten older, as things have happened in their life, maybe they've lost certain morals. So I feel like as far as technology is concerned, you not only have police cams, you've always had ID scanners, plate the computers in the cop car, the plate scanners, and everything like that. And it starts with the person. It starts with the person using the technology, because if a person is out to do something, they're gonna figure out how to manipulate anything that could show their true intention. So when you get down to those police cams, you have people in police departments that will edit footage, that will crop out audio to make videos, not only black crimes, but just any crime committed by a police officer, to make it not their fault, or make it seem less offensive.
Yeah, so to piggyback off of what Mr. Nichols said, I don't feel like the officers are not right in their head, because I firmly believe that you're not born racist. So you've been taught to treat people a certain way. So your background teaches you the way you are. So that's why I believe that I feel like police officers need more training more than anything. So see everyone as one. Like, don't treat anyone differently.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I was saying, as far as like the police cams go, like with the racism and stuff like that, that's how they got big. When I talked about, when I just say not right in the head, I don't mean like they have some kind of mental issue. I just mean that like, if certain things have happened, maybe their morals have changed and stuff. And like you said, no one's born racist. No one's born with this hatred for anybody. So you obviously have to be taught that. But when I was talking about it, I wasn't just talking about racism. I was just talking about any police officer that does anything wrong against anyone. Obviously, racism and police brutality is the big thing right now, but it is a general subject about just officers doing things wrong in general.
I agree. I completely agree.
All right, and I'm going to ask Miss Wilson, same question.
Wait, what was the question again? I got kind of lost without the discussion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Why is technology relevant in our current state of policing?
It's relevant because everything spreads so quickly and it's out there, it's in your face. Bam, this happened. Whether it was a crime against Black people or just a crime in general where they did something so disgusting, you can't even fathom a thought about it. With technology, we can show these examples on why police need to be defunded. I'm gonna say just like that. The police need to be defunded because they have all this power and all this money behind them that they're hungry with power. The system has become corrupt, bastardized. And everyone's like, well, you support all cops are bad, all cops are bastards. And it's not that they're bad people, but they're willing to work for a corrupt system, and that's why they are bad. And with technology, we're able to spread that out there. We're able to tell people, hey, this is wrong, and not for the reasons you may think it's wrong, but because of how it's brought us up to today.
And can you just define defunding the police for our audience, just in case there are those who don't know?
Okay, defunding the police does not mean taking away all their money. It simply means to expand the funds to other things, because they have all this money that they're not using, and this money could be brought out to education. It could be given to communities that are broken and just needed of the money. It could be given to the system for foster kids and kids who don't have homes. All this money is being kept in police stations for them, and they've shown time after time they don't do well with power. So to defund them, we expand the funds to everyone who needs it, rather than just take all their money and be like, you don't need to work anymore.
And to go like based off what you're saying, obviously there are police departments that have less money than other police departments because you have the different cities and everything. Obviously, a Los Angeles police department is going to have more funds than a Mississippi police department. So I think that their funds should be based off their recent history of crime intake, the things that they've been dealing with. So I feel, as far as you're saying defunding, I think that we should allocate those extra funds to other things from those police departments who have more money than they're using. They have these pools of crime in certain areas that they're handling just fine with the amount of money that they have, but not only the police officers, but the police department has a raised payment, a raised paycheck, opposed to other police officers in their same area. For whatever reason, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, I feel that that most bad police officers outweigh the good police officers, because when they say one apple spoils the whole tree, one thing, and I feel that body cams they are relevant and they help, but sometimes it don't show the whole thing. It don't show everything that we need to be seeing. And the thing is, I'm not taking up for police, but half the time police scared of us because we've created this image that, okay, we're not going to comply because of what you've seen, of what happened. Because when George Floyd happened, people was like, okay, we finna outrage when the police park pull me over, I'm finna have a gun, I'm finna just act all out and stuff like that and not be respectful and actually try to reason with them. But sometimes it be them bad police officers that be trying to put blacks in jail, because if blacks in jail, if they go to jail, they can't vote. And if they can't vote, we'll end up with somebody like Trump in office again, because they're consistently putting blacks in office. They're targeting blacks. So we cannot vote. So we cannot put who we want in office. So our voices don't matter So they put us in jail to try to take the rights that we have. So then when we get out, we can't get a job, we can't get money. It's like people look at us in a different way because we've been to jail, and sometimes people go to jail for no reason. They just get pulled over and the police they plant something and they just make them go to jail for no reason. So.
Yeah, to piggyback off what you were saying before about those police officers that are truly, just like scared of what could happen, you wouldn't get the job if you didn't think you were prepared for whatever you had to deal with. But also, I feel like that stereotype has not only been placed based off actions among the black community, because obviously you have in any race you have ignorant people. So you have those people that have done things out of ignorance that have projected the stereotype, but also the stereotype was put in place in the first place of us being aggressive because we have a reason to be aggressive. We have a reason to go off in a limb and get mad at someone that we see as our aggressive, because we've been oppressed for so long in certain situations. I'm not saying that you don't have those people, those black people that truly have a negative intention, because like I said, you have in any race you can have those people that have a true negative intention. But I feel like the stereotype in the first place, why they are particularly scared of us more than any other race, is because we've been shown to have a reason to be aggressive. We've been shown to have a reason to not want to listen to them, because at some point we did listen to them, and when we stopped, they got scared, they got hurt, they were harmed because we stopped listening to them. So as far and it also goes with a level of authority. That's when you have the intelligent people, the people that realize that, okay, this is a police officer that is not racist. I can say based off their actions, you can see that they're truly scared and that they're not racist. With some police officers, you can't see that. So you have those people that go thinking, that I'm going to listen to them not only because they're an authority figure, but because I see that if I do anything wrong, you know, that that something bad could go on, and a lot of people feel that their fear in the first place is racism. That their fear of us opposed to any other race is racism in the first place, and I don't agree with that fully, simply because anybody can do anything. But like I said, my first point, you wouldn't take the job if you weren't prepared for what was going to happen.
And what Mr. Nicholas was saying about the whole them being afraid. To begin with, they painted the picture from the very beginning. Like he said, when they realized we had something to be angry about, they painted this picture that all Black people are aggressive, they're angry, Black women are ghetto and loud. And it's like, yeah, they're scared because they know we are upset. And I feel like when they realized emancipating us as real people, they realized they're going to be angry as time goes on. Let's paint this picture that that's just their natural instinct. And I feel like that's what causes police and other people to be so scared of Black people when they come across them.
All right. How can we use technology to better our system of policing? So how can we use it to improve the system, to make better police officers, to make our use of police officers better? We'll start with you, Mr. Brister.
Okay. I feel like technology it hurts us in a lot of ways because technology can always be altered. No matter what, you can always alter technology to make it look one certain way when it's really another certain way. So I really think technology is good for them, but I don't really think it's great for them because you can always alter. Like I said, like you can always make one thing seem like another. So I really think technology is not the problem. I think they need more training. Like they need to be put in scenarios and see how they act. They need to be threatened in scenarios to see how they perform in that scenario. So when they get out of the road, they can see. But I feel like every police officer needs to be monitored, not just by a body cam that sits in their car when they just take it back to the police station. I feel like it should be someone sitting behind it and looking at the footage so they can see what really happened before it gets back to the station, before they can a police officer can alter it and make it look like something else.
Okay, so I have an idea. So bear with me here. I feel like a lot of like racist and like racist stuff happen through like 911 calls. So for instance, you have the Karens out there who would call 911 for like ridiculous reasons. So like if like a Black family just want to have like a picnic and like a white person feels threatened by it, here's my idea. So you know how they would call like 911 and stuff? I feel like there should be like this person who would like kind of like analyze the situation. So they'd be like, what's the race or whatever? Why do you feel threatened? Before they dial them to like the actual 911 operator, if that makes sense. So like they would like kind of analyze the situation, see if it's worthy enough to move the phone call to a 911 operator, if that makes sense. Like they would see if it's racist or not, if that person's just being racist towards that person.
Even with that, I feel as though all calls need to be taken serious to an extent because you never know what truly is going on. And maybe that profiling, that description is what's going to save a life because some Black people are cruel. That's the truth. Everyone has that cruelty in them. And some of these calls aren't just racist, they're just plain descriptions of the person so that they don't get away with it. So I feel like with that, some calls wouldn't be taken serious when it is a serious and dire situation and a life could be lost. It could cost a life. I feel like that's too much of a risk. It's too risky.
All right, thanks. And I want to ask again, how can we use technology to better our system of policing? And this time I'm going to go to LaSpirit.
Okay, so one way I feel like we can use technology to better our police is to first expose the police department. Like we're doing now, like doing the Black Lives Matter movement, we're exposing them, we see more now. And the only way I feel like we can do that is, make body cams mandatory. To make it to where you a police officer, you have a body cam, you have to turn in a body cam at the end of your shift, and it should have like each allotted time. It should it should have an allotted time, like from the time they clock in to get the body cam all the way to the end of their shift. Should no missing timepiece be missing. And like if you don't have a body cam when you go on a shift, there should be some type of punishment for that. So yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings. So technology really revolves around at least according to y'all, the body cameras are very important. Cell phones, using that to keep police officers accountable. Is that what I'm hearing from you, LaSpirit?
Yes, ma'am.
Accountability is extremely important. I do want to reiterate, we're not advocating for violence against police officers or against anyone. These are just the opinions of students, and I want to say we're all still students, so please don't go out there and commit any acts that you wouldn't be proud of.
To answer, to piggyback off LaSpirit, one big thing that I've seen is you know those sci-fi movies that have the futuristic timeline, and you have those giant police drones roaming around the city, like roaming over the city. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So as far as an idea, you have those people who are constantly monitoring the technology, like a live feed, a live stream feed. But I feel that you should also have, from what Jared said before about not having that that angle to where we see everything we need to see. You have the technology where you can have drones out there to see for you too. Where you don't have where you don't only have police body cams, but you also have drone cams too. And thinking about it now, it goes back into police funding and them getting the funding to not make the technology, but have the technology to actually use it, hoping that they use it, but also hoping that society changes enough to where we won't have a need for it. It can obviously be an improvement to recording things that happen. But as far as what we're talking about right now, and as far as it goes with police brutality among the Black community, I feel that from what Jared said before about the not having the angles we need or seeing everything we need, not just having the body cams, but also the idea of drone cameras too.
Thank you. I kind of want to move to some audience questions. I have a few questions left, but we're going to move to the audience questions because they've been patiently waiting. So I'm going to go ahead and look for some of these questions. We're going to go back to the beginning. So some of these are going to be older. So one, I want to start with, how has access to technology for African Americans changed since the pandemic in the Jackson metro area? And I want to direct that to all of y'all. So whoever wants to answer first.
Can you restate the question?
Yes. How has access to technology for African Americans changed since the pandemic in the Jackson metro area?
If nobody else wants to go first, the first thing that comes to mind is a lot of kids getting laptops for virtual learning when they have not had any quote unquote expensive technology in their household before. So those kids that have been going to school and they have not had a need for a phone. Well, there's always a need for a phone in emergencies, but they have not had access to this technology based on their own income in their own household. You have those those students who have gained computers, for some people, iPads, just things to help with the virtual learning. So as far as the black community, as far as African Americans, in my mind, it's those people who do not have the household, who had not had that household income to access that type of technology based on their own means, and now they have been given that technology to help with their education during this time.
Anyone else want to respond to that one?
I can only say that I completely agree with what he said, and that's exactly what I was thinking, how I felt about the situation. So I don't have any more input on it.
So what are some solutions to the issues that we have in policing with body cams? We talked about a lot of issues and problems, but what are some solutions and ways to go about defunding but keeping body cameras and keeping accountability? Again, this is to y'all, so whoever would like to jump in and answer.
Like I said, they need to have a camera that's live, that people at the station can sit back and see. It can be recorded before anybody can alter it. It needs to be live for people to know what's really going on. So if a police gets back to the station and he turns in his body cam, but he also edit his footage to try to make it seem like he didn't do this or do that, it needs to be live so people can see. And I feel like some stuff need to be released to the public and to the public defender so they really can know what really happened and not one side of the story. See, because if somebody is dead, how can they get a side of the story? It's only the police officer against the evidence. So there need to be more evidence, and there need to be more cameras that's live. So they.
And talking about that, it's sad to say, but I think there should be quote unquote racism training. So like people who will go through like Jared said before, scenarios where racism can be imposed, racism can be put into the situation, and you have those people. It all comes back to who the person is and accountability for their actions. So as far as the people seeing the live stream, the officers at the station that will be watching the live stream from the camera, you obviously need those people that are not going to impose that, oh, I trust the police officer more than I do the citizen. It's all about what's happening then and there based off why they're taking the action that they're taking. So I feel that there should be some sort of training, like Jared was saying, with the scenarios where you are put in a situation where that mindset can be that mindset can be put into the situation by the police officer, and seeing if it's put into the scenario.
I also feel like I just kind of researched this a bit, but I feel like we should take away some of the policemen rights. For example, mental health professional and social workers should be the one to like respond to like mental health issues rather than the policemen.
Okay, for me, it goes back to what we were saying before, exposure. Expose the officers with the body cams. And true enough, like Mr. Brister said, we have people who are able to take the body cams and delete certain footage and alter what would actually happen. But for me, they should have something set in place where they like to have a tracker on the body cam or whatever camera we're using, have a tracker on it, see where it's going, how long it's been at that place. Also, like we have so much technology like we are able to, even if footage deleted, we have people who's able to go back and get their footage. So footage being deleted shouldn't be the reason, you know, police officers aren't exposed. Because we have means of ways of going back, retrieving the footage that was deleted or that was supposedly deleted. So
yeah. And another thing is with me, no amount of training and technology can replace human bonds. The community needs to get closer to the police department. And another situation is voting. We can vote for the sheriff, so we can make another better police department. We can vote for the chief of police. And they can also bleed over into the legal system. We can vote for our judges. So like what was pushed heavily this year with all that propaganda is we need to get out and vote. But above all, there is no greater power than human interaction between us. We need to get closer with our police department.
Alicia, this question is directed towards you from the audience. How can we leverage technology in the Black Lives Matter movement?
Well, I would say give more cops body cams. Social media can give more links to support like businesses. More celebrities can motivate their community, and a class that teaches Black history for those who aren't aware about the hardships and discrimination put against Black people.
Good point. Supporting Black businesses is a great point. GoFundMe's using the internet to find out about these Black businesses and use other things besides Amazon, which are hurting the BLM movement. And so I think those are some great points. Another good question here. Do you think that cell phones during police altercations is an appropriate use of technology? And that's geared towards
More
all
than
of
ever.
Yes.
More than ever.
Yes.
More than
It will
ever.
always be.
Absolutely.
It shows the public the procedures a Black person has to go through every time it's like a traffic patrol or a traffic stop. It's crazy. And the police, it's crazy how the police finds it so offensive. Oh, sorry, you in the camera. The police finds it so offending by us recording them, how badly they're treating us, and that's just, how could you think that? You're treating my phone as if it's a gun and I'm pointing it to you. Like, I have the right to record the situation. Aren't you doing the same with your body cam? It's like,
Yeah, and a lot of times you find no, I'm not gonna say a lot of times, it's just an assumption that you find those who would prefer the body cam because it does it specifically because it doesn't pick up certain angles, and that, you know, if you have a certain body cam, if you talk low enough, it can't pick up the audio and stuff like that and everything. You'll never truly know what's going through a person's head in the middle of these altercations. But as far as phones being used, they are an amazing way of keeping not only the person being stopped by the police officer, because you do have situations where the person being stopped is doing things wrongfully, you know, going about doing stuff unnecessarily, without, like, yeah, but it's also a great way to keep hold of officer accountability. You know, we talk about accountability all the time. That is one of the main ways now that officers are held accountable for their actions, based off bystander recording and everything. And as far as having it recorded, I think that there should be a person that is like has the specific job of recording police altercations, and reports back to their, like, the local police department, to like maybe the deputy or the sheriff, with the footage that they have, and then the deputy and sheriff can go through that footage. And you're gonna elect people. We can and we should elect people that are not going to impose that racist standard, but they go through the footage and they then determine based off the officers and the altercation what was wrong and what was just.
Okay,
And
so
not
for
only
me,
not only should citizens record, but I believe if the situation calls for it, citizens should have the right to deal with police officers if they see injustice. Like in the George Floyd video, everyone was standing around recording. That's good and all. We need the evidence and we need backup for an action. But at the same time, we kind of want this person to survive the encounter. So I do believe that citizens should have the right to deal with police if they see police committing injustice, not just record.
okay,
But see,
so
you can go to
I
Syria. I'm
feel
sorry.
like cell phones is the most convenient because honestly, like when you get pulled over by police, who do you know drive around with the newscast in the back of their back seat? Like who you know drive around with like a camcorder or a camera every day? No, most people have their cell phones with them 24/7. So that is like the only way of recording, if you ask me.
Yeah, and going into what Christopher said about the bystander interaction with police officers. Like I said, we'll never truly know what's going through a police officer's head. We know what we see. We know what we see. And with the George Floyd situation, we saw injustice. We saw what was happening. We saw that it was unnecessary in the situation. And in that situation, you want to. You obviously want to. You want to step in and you want to, push the police officer over and yeah, obviously in those situations you want to take action, but you also have situations where you don't know the full story as a bystander, and that's when people's emotions and people's opinion can go wrong when you have a certain opinion about what the police officer is doing, but you don't know the full story of the situation, and you have those situations where it's just like those people that see, oh, it's a black person, so they must be wrongfully accused of something, so I'm gonna jump in and put my own stuff in. So you end up having that problem when you impose bystanders jumping into a police altercation.
Now I know what you mean, but not every case. Just like the ones where it's completely opposite. Obvious, and the situation calls for. Like, there's no reason you should have had your knee on a man's neck. Like, what protocol is that? Just for like the obvious.
Yeah, along with 3 other police officers holding him down. Yeah, what's the point?
Hey. Anyone else want to speak on that real quick before we move on? So probably this is going to be our final question. All right, let's pick it. So in Jackson, how do you see technology having helped with policing the Black Lives Matter movement in government as well, seeing as we work for the government? Well, I work for the government. How do you see technology changing that? The blue light cameras that you see on the corners, the body cams and police officers without body cams, but locally, how do you see it affecting you?
Well, maybe I won't. I don't think I'm going to answer this question right, but I feel like it's affecting me in a way where I feel like if I'm in a car with my dad and we get pulled over by a policeman, I'm a lot more scared for my dad because I don't know what could happen. I would say I'm even scared for a black officer to come and approach us because some black officers treats their own community wrong as well, in a way. So I'm a lot more scared because my dad will be like, calm down, everything's gonna be fine and everything, but I'm still like kind of nervous because anything can happen.
I too feel like I can't really answer the situation correctly because pandemic can't really go anywhere to get in trouble with a police officer, and not only that, I forgot what I was gonna say, but basically, pandemic we can't really go anywhere to get in trouble with a police officer.
You know,
Also,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Also, I want to quickly include that I know my dad, and I know just because of how he's grown up and everything, my dad's kind of quick to get loud or like violent. Well, not violent, but like loud, and he'll back talk. He's trying to improve on that, but I know how my dad is. That's why I would also be scared in that situation.
yeah. To piggyback off of Christopher and what you're saying, you, as it's been seen, you have those people who do not handle the pandemic accordingly. You, based off your opinion and your how you're living your life, you do not see an opportunity to where you can go outside and get into an altercation with a police officer. But you have those people that are still going out living their quote unquote before times life, and getting into these altercations because I mean they're not doing what they need to do as a citizen to make sure that this passes easily.
And the main people who don't want to wear a mask are the main people who want to complain about the system not opening back up. That just
Yeah. And I mean, I feel that you can be right to complain about things not being how they were, but in your complaining, also realize that you gotta take the necessary precautions to get through this as easily as you can, because you have those people that were not wearing a mask, those people that continue to go out, despite even those people who continue to go out despite things being closed and everything, and then they get sick, they go through it, and they realize, oh, I should have been precautious because I didn't like that at all. But you also have those people that get sick and it doesn't affect them harshly, because it affects everyone differently, and it doesn't affect them as harsh, and that just furthermore improves their negatively sustained confidence, and I'm gonna do what I want.
Exactly, I completely agree with that. My mom came down with the virus, but she was asymptomatic, so she didn't feel any of the symptoms or anything. Only thing she felt was like her sense of smell went away, but that was about it. But she still followed the rules. She wore a mask everywhere she go because you may be asymptomatic, but you can still spread the virus to someone else. That's undeniable. So that's why I really hate Florida right now, because you have a lot of people in there who just, don't believe in the virus. And we had our president who didn't believe in it, even when he caught it. So
Yeah.
I feel like we should have someone in office who's just like, we have to mandate, we have to like.
It's a nation mandate.
Yeah, we have to
um,
have it no matter what.
Yeah, and you have all those people that don't realize that a mask is to keep other people protected from you. It's less about you being protected from other people, but for like protection of other people around you. That's why it's such a big deal when a person is not wearing a mask, because it's less about me being protected from you and more about you keeping yourself away from me.
And it's crazy because that same person will go and complain. It's like, I want more buildings open. Why aren't more buildings open? I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. But you're not wearing a mask. Like, you keep spreading the virus. You have to wear the mask. And they're like, I can't wear the mask. I can barely breathe in it. You don't have to be out. You don't have to be out all the time. You can like order stuff offline and stuff.
Yeah, and you have, and you don't, and for those people that are just so insistent that I have to go get this, I have to do that, but I can't wear a mask. You don't have to go in public spaces. You can go to the park and sit alone by yourself. I know me and my mom, we've gone to the Natchez Trace many times, and it was just me and her for like a good bit because people were so spaced out and people were so cautious about what they were doing.
Great. And we're out of time, but I want everybody to have a chance to have a final word, something you want to leave the audience with. And we'll start with you, Miss Wilson.
It's like final words in general, or like thought. I don't really have any final words besides keep fighting for what you believe is right, because it's up to you. You make the decisions for your life. Don't let someone else decide for you.
Thank you, Mr. Brister.
Okay, my final words. Yeah, like she said, keep fighting for what you believe in. You should never be discouraged about what somebody else is causing you to do or harming you to do. You should always fight for your identity. You should never let anyone affect the way you act, affect the way you treat others. So even if you're getting treated a certain way, still treat the other person with respect. It goes a long way. And most importantly, listen. Because in this world, you have to listen, because you can't be always right, and you can't always have an attitude and always think you're above everybody. So you have to listen to people in order to succeed and understand them to succeed.
Thank you. Ms. Jennings?
Only thing I have to say is when it comes down to the pandemic, be safe, wear your mask, follow social distance, 6 feet rules. They've been in place to protect us from the virus. And also, like they said, speak up for yourself, continue to spread awareness about Black Lives Matter, continue to fight for what is right. And that's all.
Thank you. Mr. Washington?
All I have to say is follow your instincts, do your own research. Sometimes the news is not trustworthy at all, even though they are supposed to bring you the information. 9 times out of 10, your instincts won't lead you to the wrong place.
Great facts. Great facts. Ms. Jones?
As a final word, I would just say, like, Jared, you. It's like final words. I would just say, look up information, stay in the know. Like be aware of what's going on around you. This year I've gotten into politics, like more. Usually I didn't really care about politics and stuff like that, but now I can't stop looking up stuff about it. And just, fight for your identity. Don't let nobody else like tell you who you are. And just basically stuff like that. Stay safe. Wear a mask. It doesn't affect your breathing. It's okay. You can get a bigger mask if it does. It's simple. Or just don't go out. You're not supposed to be out anyway. Basically.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Nichols?
You're never too young to figure out what you're passionate about. And when I say figure out, that goes with researching stuff to figure out what you're interested in, but also knowing what you're passionate about and doing the research to break it down. Whether that's a hobby, whether that's something that you're interested in, whether that's something that, you want to have more information about, like with Ms. Jones in politics and everything. She took the time out of her day because of her own interest to look up what she wanted to about it. So I just want people to know you're never too young to look up or research what you're passionate about.
Thank you very much to our panelists. Thank you to our audience for tuning in. This is the end of our panel, and you are free to go. And we will be back with you at 2:00. Thank you. Panelists, if you'll stay on for just a minute.